A blinding flash of light erupted across the cosmos, tearing through the fabric of space and time. Stars flickered and died as the universe itself seemed to scream in agony. Dr. Elara Voss stood frozen in her observatory, her instruments screaming warnings she could barely comprehend. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "This isn't just a tear, it's a doorway to something unimaginable." The rift grew, a swirling void of darkness and light, devouring entire star systems in its wake. Planets crumbled, galaxies twisted, and the laws of physics shattered like glass. Somewhere, deep within the chaos, a faint pulse echoed, a signal, a voice, a call. The universe was unraveling, and Dr. Voss knew one thing for certain: this was only the beginning. As the chaos of the rift's emergence settled into a grim reality, Dr. Elara Voss knew time was running out. The universe was unraveling faster than anyone could have predicted, and the faint pulse from the rift's core was a mystery that demanded answers. With a determined resolve, she began assembling a team capable of facing the unimaginable. Commander Jackson Reed, a seasoned space explorer with a reputation for surviving the impossible, was her first call. His experience navigating the most treacherous corners of the cosmos made him an invaluable asset. Next came Lyra Cade, a rogue quantum engineer whose brilliance was matched only by her enigmatic past. Lyra's expertise in manipulating the fabric of reality itself was crucial, even if her methods were unconventional. Together, they formed the core of a mission that would either save the universe or doom it entirely. The experimental starship Eclipse stood ready, its sleek design a testament to humanity's most advanced technology. As the team boarded, Lyra's voice cut through the tension. "If we cross that rift," she warned, her tone heavy with unease, "there's no guarantee we'll come back." Her words hung in the air, a stark reminder of the stakes. But there was no turning back. The Eclipse launched into the void, its engines humming with a quiet determination as it hurtled toward the rift. The journey was anything but smooth. Collapsing wormholes twisted the ship's trajectory, and gravitational anomalies threatened to tear it apart. The crew fought to maintain control, their skills pushed to the limit as they navigated the chaos. Each passing moment brought them closer to the rift, but also closer to disaster. The rift was expanding faster than anyone had anticipated, its edges devouring star systems with terrifying speed. The Eclipse narrowly escaped the collapse of a nearby star system, its hull groaning under the strain, but as they pulled away, the ship's sensors picked up something unexpected, a faint signal emanating from the rift's core. It was faint, almost imperceptible, but unmistakable. It wasn't random noise or cosmic interference, it was a voice. The signal crackled through the ship's speakers, a haunting echo that sent shivers down the spines of everyone on board. Dr. Voss leaned closer, her eyes narrowing as she tried to decipher its meaning. "This isn't just a natural phenomenon," she murmured. "Someone, or something, is trying to communicate." The team exchanged uneasy glances, the weight of their mission pressing down on them. They had set out to uncover the truth about the rift, but now they were faced with a question that defied all logic. Who or what was speaking from the heart of the void? As the Eclipse continued its perilous journey, the signal grew stronger, its message becoming clearer. The voice was fragmented, its words distorted by the rift's chaotic energy, but one thing was certain: it was calling to them. The team braced themselves for what lay ahead, knowing that the answers they sought might come at a cost far greater than they had imagined. The rift was no longer just a tear in the universe. It was a gateway to something far beyond their understanding, and as the Eclipse plunged deeper into the unknown, the crew couldn't shake the feeling that they were no longer just explorers. They were participants in a cosmic event that would change everything. As the Eclipse drifted closer to the rift, the signal grew louder, its fragmented words coalescing into a single, chilling message. The rift is not destruction, it is evolution. The words echoed through the ship, leaving the crew in stunned silence. Dr. Voss stared at the date, streaming across her console, her mind racing to make sense of the cryptic declaration. Evolution, she muttered, her voice tinged with disbelief. What could that possibly mean? Commander Reed crossed his arms, his expression grim. If this thing is evolving, we're in deeper trouble than we thought. Evolution implies intent. Something or someone is behind this. Lyra, meanwhile, was already running simulations, her fingers flying over the controls. The signal's origin point is deep within the rift, she said, her voice steady but laced with urgency. If we want answers, we'll have to go in. Before anyone could respond, the Eclipse shuddered violently. Alarms blared as the ship was yanked off course, pulled toward the rift with an irresistible force. Brace yourselves, Reed shouted, gripping the console as the ship was swallowed by the swirling maelstrom. The crew was thrown into chaos, the ship's systems flickering as they crossed the threshold into the unknown. When the turbulence finally subsided, the Eclipse emerged into a realm unlike anything they had ever seen. The laws of physics seemed to unravel around them. Time flowed in erratic bursts, and space itself appeared fractured, as though the universe had been shattered and hastily reassembled. Stars flickered in and out of existence, and the ship's sensors struggled to make sense of the distorted reality. This shouldn't be possible, Lyra whispered, her voice trembling with awe and fear. It was then that they appeared, towering figures of light and shadow, their forms shifting and fluid, as though they were woven from the fabric of the dimension itself. The architects, their presence was overwhelming, radiating an ancient, almost incomprehensible power. One of them stepped forward, its voice resonating through the ship and into the minds of the crew. "You have come far, travelers," it said, its tone both commanding and serene, "but you do not yet understand the purpose of the rift." Dr. Voss stepped forward, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her. "If you created this rift, then you're responsible for the destruction it's causing. Billions of lives are at stake. How can you justify this?" The architect's response was calm, almost detached. "Your reality is flawed. It is a fragile construct, riddled with imperfections. The rift is not destruction, it is correction, a reset, a chance to create something new, something better." Lyra's eyes widened as the implications sank in. "You're talking about rewriting the universe, erasing everything that exists to start over. Do you have any idea what that means?" "The lives you're destroying," the architect's gaze, if it could be called that, remained unyielding. "Sacrifice is necessary for evolution. Your universe has reached its limit. The rift is the only way to correct its course." Dr. Voss clenched her fists, her voice rising with anger. "You don't get to decide that. You don't get to play God with billions of lives." But the architects remained unmoved, their resolve as unshakable as the rift itself. The crew exchanged uneasy glances, the weight of their mission pressing down on them more heavily than ever. They had come seeking answers, but now they faced a choice that could alter the fate of the universe itself. The architect's words lingered in the air, a chilling reminder of the stakes. The rift was not just a tear in reality, it was a catalyst for something far greater and far more dangerous. And as the Eclipse floated in the fractured dimension, the crew knew one thing for certain: their fight was far from over. As the Eclipse floated in the fractured dimension, the crew knew they had no time to waste. The architect's chilling declaration hung heavy in the air, but Dr. Voss refused to accept their cold logic. "We can't let them decide the fate of our universe," she said, her voice firm. "We need a plan, and we need it now." Lyra's eyes lit up as she began piecing together an idea. If we can't stop the rift from the outside, maybe we can destabilize it from within. My quantum tech could create a counter rift, a way to disrupt their control. But it's risky. If we're not precise, it could backfire and accelerate the collapse. Commander Reed stepped forward, his expression resolute. We don't have a choice. If this is our only shot, we take it, but we'll need to get closer to the rift's core, right into the architect's stronghold. The crew exchanged determined glances, knowing the stakes. They were no longer just fighting for their universe, they were fighting for its very existence. The Eclipse navigated the chaotic dimension, dodging fragments of collapsing stars and warped spacetime. As they approached the stronghold, the architect's presence grew more oppressive, their towering forms casting eerie shadows over the ship. "This is it," Lyra said, her voice steady despite the tension. "Once we're inside, there's no turning back." The infiltration was swift but perilous. The architect's defenses were unlike anything they had encountered, their technology blending seamlessly with the fractured reality around them. Commander Reed led the charge, his tactical expertise guiding the team through the labyrinthine structure. But as they neared the core, the architects closed in, their forms shifting and merging with the environment. "Go," Reed shouted, turning to face the advancing architects. "I'll hold them off. You two get to the core and activate the device." Dr. Voss hesitated, but Reed's gaze was unwavering. "Tell Earth we didn't go down without a fight," he said, his voice filled with quiet resolve. With a final nod, he turned and charged into the fray, buying them precious seconds. Dr. Voss and Lyra raced to the core, their hearts pounding as they reached the control interface. Lyra's hands moved swiftly, calibrating the quantum device to create the counter rift. But as they activated it, the architects retaliated, their voices booming through the chamber. "You cannot undo what has been set in motion," one declared. "The collapse of the rift will annihilate both dimensions. Is that what you desire?" Lyra froze, her mind racing. "They're right," she whispered, her voice trembling. "If we destabilize the rift, it could destroy everything, our universe and theirs." Dr. Voss clenched her fists, torn between duty and the horrifying consequences of their actions. "We can't let them win," she said, "but we can't sacrifice both realities either." It was then that Lyra made a shocking discovery. As she analyzed the architect's systems, she uncovered fragments of data records of a universe long gone. "They're not creators," she realized, her voice filled with awe. "They're refugees. Their universe collapsed, and they've been trying to escape extinction ever since. The rift, it's their last hope." Dr. Voss's eyes widened as the truth sank in. "We're not so different," she murmured, her voice heavy with realization. "They're fighting for survival just like us." But time was running out. The rift began to destabilize, its energy surging uncontrollably. The architect's stronghold trembled, and the crew knew they had to act fast. As the dimension around them began to unravel, Dr. Voss and Lyra faced an impossible choice. The counter rift was their only chance to stop the architects, but at what cost? The fate of two universes hung in the balance, and the crew of the Eclipse stood at the heart of the storm, their resolve tested like never before. The battle for reality had reached its climax, and the consequences of their decision would echo across the cosmos. As the rift's energy surged uncontrollably, the weight of the decision pressed down on Dr. Voss and Lyra like a collapsing star. The air in the chamber crackled with tension, the architects' voices echoing ominously around them. "We're out of time," Lyra said, her voice barely audible over the growing hum of the destabilizing rift. "If we don't act now, both universes will be lost." Dr. Voss stared at the control interface, her mind racing. "If we destroy the rift, we save our universe, but we condemn theirs. If we let it complete its cycle, both realities merge. But what does that even mean? What happens to us, to them? Her voice wavered, the enormity of the choice paralyzing her. Lyra stepped closer, her eyes filled with a quiet resolve. Maybe evolution isn't about survival, she said softly. Maybe it's about change, about becoming something new. The architects aren't trying to destroy us, they're trying to survive, just like we are. What if this isn't the end, but a beginning? The words hung in the air, a fragile hope amidst the chaos. Dr. Voss clenched her fists, her thoughts a whirlwind of duty, fear, and curiosity. She had spent her life studying the universe, unraveling its mysteries, but this was beyond anything she had ever imagined. If we do this, she said, her voice trembling, we're gambling with everything. Every life, every star, every moment that's ever existed. Lyra nodded, her expression solemn. I know, but if we don't, we lose it all anyway. At least this way, there's a chance for both of us. She reached out, her hand hovering over the activation panel. Together, Dr. Voss took a deep breath, her heart pounding in her chest. She looked at Lyra, then at the rift, its swirling energy, a chaotic dance of destruction and possibility. Together, she said, her voice steady now. With a shared glance, they pressed the panel, overriding the architect's control. The chamber erupted in a blinding light as the counter rift activated, its energy clashing with the rift's chaotic forces. The architects' voices rose in a cacophony of anger and despair, their forms flickering as the dimensions began to merge. You cannot undo what has been set in motion. One roared, its voice shaking the very fabric of reality, but it was too late. The counter rift surged, its energy intertwining with the rifts, creating a cascade of light and sound that defied comprehension. The Eclipse trembled violently, its systems straining against the overwhelming forces. Dr. Voss and Lyra clung to the console, their eyes fixed on the swirling chaos before them. As the dimensions began to merge, the world around them shifted and blurred, stars and galaxies folding into one another in a breathtaking display of cosmic transformation. Dr. Voss whispered, her voice barely audible over the roar of collapsing realities, let's hope we made the right choice. The Eclipse was hurled backward, its engines screaming as it was thrust through the merging dimensions. The rift's energy surged one final time, then sealed behind them with a deafening silence. The ship tumbled through space, its crew disoriented but alive. As the chaos subsided, Dr. Voss and Lyra stared out at the stars, now brighter and more numerous than before. The universe had changed subtly, profoundly. New constellations dotted the sky, their patterns unfamiliar yet beautiful. We did it, Lyra said, her voice filled with awe. But what did we do, Doctor? Voss shook her head, her mind still reeling. I don't know, she admitted, but whatever it is, it's ours now, and we'll figure it out together. The crew of the Eclipse had faced the impossible and emerged on the other side, forever changed by the choices they had made. The rift was gone, but its legacy would shape the universe for eons to come. As the Eclipse drifted through the newly transformed cosmos, the crew gathered on the observation deck, their faces illuminated by the glow of unfamiliar stars. The silence was profound, a stark contrast to the chaos they had just endured. Dr. Voss broke the stillness, her voice soft but filled with a quiet determination. We've crossed a threshold, she said, her gaze fixed on the shimmering expanse beyond the viewport. This isn't the universe we left behind, it's something more. Lyra stood beside her, her expression a mix of wonder and contemplation. The rift didn't just tear things apart, she said, it stitched them together. Look at the stars, they're not just brighter, they're different, new patterns, new possibilities. It's like the universe has been rewritten. She paused, her voice dropping to a whisper. And we're the ones holding the pen. The crew exchanged glances, the weight of their journey settling over them. Commander Reed's sacrifice, the architect's final words, the merging of dimensions. It all felt like fragments of a dream, too vast to fully comprehend. Yet here they were, alive and bearing witness to a reality reshaped by their choices. What do we do now? One of the crew members asked, breaking the silence. Where do we even begin? Dr. Voss turned to face them, her eyes reflecting the light of the new constellations. We begin by understanding, she said. This universe is ours to explore, to learn from, to protect. The rift was a catalyst, but the story doesn't end here. It's up to us to decide what comes next. Her words carried a quiet authority, a reminder that even in the face of the unknown, they were not powerless. Lyra nodded, her resolve mirroring Dr. Voss's. The architects called it evolution, she said. Maybe they were right. Maybe this is what it looks like, not destruction, but transformation. A chance to build something better, something that honors both our past and our future. She glanced at the control panel, where the faint remnants of the rift's energy still flickered. We've been given a second chance, let's not waste it. As the Eclipse charted its course through the reborn universe, the crew set to work, their mission no longer defined by survival but by discovery. New star systems beckoned, their mysteries waiting to be unraveled. Dr. Voss and Lyra spent hours poring over data, their conversations filled with theories and hypotheses about the nature of the changes they were witnessing. Do you think the architects knew this would happen? Lyra asked one evening, her voice tinged with curiosity. Dr. Voss shook her head, a faint smile playing on her lips. I think they hoped, she said, but even they couldn't predict the outcome. That's the beauty of it. This universe is ours to define. We're not just observers anymore. We're creators. The story of the rift became a legend, a tale told across the stars of a team that faced the unimaginable and emerged forever changed. The architect's final words, "The cycle continues," echoed in the minds of those who heard it, a reminder that the universe was not static but ever evolving. And as the Eclipse sailed onward, its crew carried with them the hope and responsibility of shaping a reality reborn. Dr. Voss stood at the viewport one last time, her reflection mingling with the light of 1,000 new stars. The rift wasn't the end, she murmured, her voice carrying the weight of 1,000 unspoken thoughts. It was a beginning, and we're just getting started. With those words, the Eclipse vanished into the vastness of the cosmos, its journey a testament to the enduring spirit of exploration and the infinite possibilities of a universe reborn.